Welcome to the Fill Your Cups podcast. We're your hosts, Morgan and Bailey. Hey guys. Hey. Welcome to today's episode. We are so excited about today's episode because we have a special guest. It is our sister, Julia. And we talk about her all the time, so you probably heard her name 1,000 times. She's one of our biggest supporters, like, in our life, but also with our podcast. We always know she's going to be listening.
Yes.
We always know she's going to be interacting with our stories. We always know that if we bring up something in person that she's going to be like, oh yeah, I know what I'm so talking about, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes she'll bring it up too. She'll be like, oh, Morgan, how's this going? And I'm like, oh man. Yeah, like, oh crap, we forgot we told people that. No, but we are so excited to have her, and we're going to be going over a topic today that she'd beyond her years. So we could have talked about a plethora of things.
Yes.
Aww. But I've kind of had this sober curious topic in mind for a while, and Julia has been sober for a while, so that would be a good time to have her on.
Hey.
Yeah.
I feel like echoing your thoughts, Julia could inspire people about any number of topics.
Yes.
But I feel like this one is a really, like, I don't know, you've gotten a really good hold on, and that's not common.
Yeah.
And so I think that it could be really helpful for a lot of people.
Yes.
And even for people who maybe, like you said, like super curious, that idea, like are super curious, or just it's been more of a thought in their mind of like, oh, I want to cut back, or I want to, whatever. So I think that would be a really fun topic, and I'm really excited about it. And one time you told me, like, it's actually crazy to me. I didn't like realize, but Julia is both of our big sisters.
You said that on a podcast episode.
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
isn't that weird?
Yeah, because we both have like big and little sisters. I guess young and older sisters, whatever. She's both of our older sisters. And so it's fun to have
our big sister on.
Yeah, big sister.
I'm so happy to be here, and it's funny you say I'm wise beyond my years because I'm turning 33 this year, and so I feel like I'm getting up there.
What? Oh my gosh, actually your birthday is like 2 weeks after this episode's coming out.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, we usually ask what's filling our cups, but we really should ask you, Julia.
Yes.
So I Googled what the most famous or common mocktail is, and turns out it's a Shirley Temple. So that's what we went with today.
Cheers, ladies. Yes.
Which, for anyone who doesn't know, Shirley Temple is just 4 parts ginger ale and 1 part grenadine.
And ours is kind of like a skinny one, right?
Yeah.
Or like a healthy girl one.
I did ginger ale Zevia, which is like always talked about on the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah,
used to
we
make a
drink it all the
joke
time.
that they needed to sponsor us.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not joking. I reached out to them.
Really?
Yeah, I love that. Not got no response.
They can say us now.
Yeah, the answer's always no if you never ask. There you go.
I love it.
So
Okay, what
good
else
old
is in
Shirley
there?
Temple. And then the grenadine is an all-natural, no high fructose corn syrup,
love
just
it.
pure ingredients.
It's a healthy little drink. I love it. And then we topped it up with a maraschino cherry.
That's right.
It reminds me of like, how people talked about, or like healthy girl summer or something like that?
Yeah.
Or what is it?
Yeah, healthy girl summer.
Or hot girl summer?
Mhm.
Or whatever.
They're
It's like,
all in there.
Yeah, this is like a mix of those and sober girl summer.
Yeah, hot girl summer, sober girl summer.
I like that one.
Mixed together. I love it. Well, before we do get too far into the episode, we do have a shout out. We also asked Julia for a shout out. So what's your shout out today?
Yes.
This is super fun for me because I feel like I don't ever get to shout out my husband, Nate, who, when I first became kind of sober curious, didn't really get it. And
Like, why?
Yeah, he was like, oh no, I'm losing my drinking buddy. Like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But like over the years, and as I've just communicated like why, and helped him understand like why I made this decision, he's been really supportive, and he's always been like the first to include me in like a cheers or like he just never makes me feel like I'm not participating, and so I just really appreciate him and his support. And I'm so grateful for
I
him.
don't feel like you could have like committed as hard to it had you not had support from your partner.
Yeah, I would have made it.
If he was like
Yeah.
constantly
Bad, like pressuring you or being like, just
Exactly.
take a drink. Like, yeah.
He never pressures me and never makes me feel like I'm missing out.
That's so good. And I feel like that's really important because not drinking at events. Like, even if your goal is not to be sober, but you're going to an event where everyone's socially drinking, it feels like kind of pariah to not be drinking, or someone's going to ask, or someone's going to be like, it's just one drink.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to have the support from, like, the one person you really need it from.
For sure. He's totally just normalized it.
Oh, I love it.
Also, I kind of feel like even if he thought, oh, I'm losing my drinking buddy, like, he has now gained, like, a designated
And when he saw the value in that, it was a game changer.
He was like, wait a second. So if you have someone unsupported, you just tell them, look, this is how it could be a TD. Look how much I can do for both of us. I love it. Well, if you guys have not picked up on it, we are doing an episode today for the Sober Curious Girls. So when I first kind of got this idea, I did not realize that the term sober curious was like a movement. I did not know that. I think I had seen somebody else had done a podcast episode about this like 2 years ago, and I saw the term sober curious, and I really just thought it meant being curious about being sober. But I looked it up, and there's so many articles out there, and I actually found a really good one from Forbes, which I can like link in the bio or whatever. But basically it says, the sober curious movement is not just a fleeting trend. It's a shift in the way that people and generations are interacting with and thinking about alcohol use. The movement refers to individuals becoming more mindful to their alcohol consumption without necessarily committing to a complete abstinence. It's about questioning the role of alcohol in one's life and exploring a healthier relationship with drinking. So I really liked that because I don't think that it is going to be in my cards to be sober. And I would say probably the same thing for you, Morgan. Like,
Yeah, there's a reason that Julia is on as the expert.
yes. And like we have mocktails on or cocktails on here all the time. We're like literally having our 1 year party at a bar. So it's not like
But they have spirit optional
They
drinks.
do. Yeah. I have actually found, so I'm sober not by choice, but by because I have to, because I'm pregnant, which has actually been so much easier than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, good.
And I feel like, I was like, no, this is a really cool time to do a sober episode then. But I really wanted to do this idea, and I knew that Julia was a great resource on this. And yeah, so the first time I heard the term sober curious, I do feel like it kind of lit something under me that made me rethink my relationship with alcohol, or just made me think about it differently of like, do I need to have a drink every time I go somewhere? When I am having a drink, why can't I have just one? Why does it have to be 3 or 4? Why do I feel like I need a cocktail in order to open up with people? Like, it was kind of things like that, or like, why do I feel like after a hard day I need a glass of wine? Which none of those are problems, but actually feeling like you need to have a drink, that's a problem, and not being able to stop at one is a problem. And I do have that problem. But all that to say, I'm really excited for this episode.
Yeah, well, and I also think that part of why it's come to mind, especially now, is we do have a lot of friends that are sober because they're pregnant right now. But we also have friends, like we talked about this with our book club girlfriends, that we also have a lot of friends that are just like not into it. We're getting to an age where I'm like, honestly, I just need a break. And
Yeah.
sometimes it feels like with all of the social obligations that we have and whatnot, that it's not okay or cool to take a break, or it's not okay to like just drink something non-alcoholic or whatever. And so it's a good time for us, and I don't know how old our listeners are, but I'm guessing they're probably around our age. They're probably going through similar things.
Yeah.
So it's good to
Especially going into summer. That's why I really want to talk about it too, especially now, because I think of summer and I think of rooftop bars. I think of summer and I think I want to go to a happy hour. I want to get drunk at the pool. And so I'm like, how can we kind of rewrite that, or what does it look like if we did? Yeah. Well, I think that's the super long intro into the way, or a super long way to say that we're talking about being sober curious today. And we got Julia on here today, and we're just going to kind of ask you some questions and just pick your brain about a lot of things. So I want to start with first, why you chose to become sober.
Great question. I don't think I even knew why for the longest time. And my life has changed over the years. Like, it started one way and then like has compounded and grown since. But it really, if I went back to 2019, that's when I first became sober curious. And I didn't know that that was a term then, but that's what it was. And just, it was on my mind a lot. And it was just a transformative time in my life where I started to really prioritize self-care, and I was having my like spiritual transformation, and like I was really thinking a lot about just taking care of myself better and being a better version of myself. And so during that year, there were times that I would drink too much, and the next day I would have regrets and spend some
All the
time.
anxiety is crazy.
Yeah. And because I was so into self-care, I was really into journaling and meditating and like doing reflections and things like that. And I started just putting two and two together, that like drinking was not good for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the opposite of self-care for me.
Yeah.
So that's when I was talking with a friend, and I was like, I think I just want to maybe make a New Year's resolution to not drink for like a whole year, just to see if I can, and just to see how it feels, and see if I have,
Me too.
I was like, see if I have less of these moments of like regret and anxiety and like, why did I do this and that kind of thing. So that friend, my friend Taylor, shout out Taylor, she was like, I'll do it with you. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Yeah, so the both of us, it was like a couple days before New Year's, like, okay, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be an alcohol-free year. So that's when I made the decision. And then like when New Year's came around in 2021, I was like, I think I'm just gonna renew it. I'm just gonna do like one up, one more year. And then it wasn't really a like forever decision for the longest time.
It was just kind of see where it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Now do you feel like it is something that like you're kind of claiming, or are you still like, we'll just see where it goes?
No, I'm at the point now where I don't really need to bring it back into my life. And I have
There's no purpose.
No.
Yeah.
And I've had times where I've been like, you know what? I think I can have a drink here and there, and then like it does go a little too far, and I have those moments again of like, that really wasn't my best self, or I just had the worst hangover ever. Like, this is not treating my body well,
Yeah.
You also get really bad hangovers.
You do.
I do not miss those.
I feel that.
At all.
I feel that.
So yeah, now I'm just like, I will proudly admit that I'm a sober girly.
Yay!
I love it. Yeah. I like that a lot, and I feel like I'm always like asking you questions about it and all those things. So I mean, another reason I really wanted you on this episode, because I was like, I know I ask you all the time about things like this. But
I also feel like it's a good example of like what we've talked about with the gift of going second. Like, even though it can feel like bold or risky or kind of like, oh, I'm the odd man out or whatever, like making the choice to be sober, I feel like you doing that, I've even seen it like open up conversations with other people where it gives people the opportunity to not feel like weird or not feel, like you.
let's not be vulnerable.
Someone has to go first, and like you're doing that job for people and like letting people go second.
And a lot of times those conversations are happening over like a glass of wine.
The amount of times I've asked you before while being drunk is so funny. Where I'm like, Julia, I really feel like I should like explore when you drink. So how did you do it and things like that.
Yeah.
But that does lead me to my next question: is what was the hardest part about the beginning of your process?
Well, kind of going back to what I was saying about Nate, like he was like not really understanding fully what, and I wasn't even fully understanding at the time too. I was still figuring out myself, and so definitely just like helping him understand why this was important and how he could support me, and like having to set some boundaries and having to communicate. Like he would poke fun sometimes. I'd be like, actually, that kind of hurts my feelings, and he'd be like, oh, I'm sorry.
Communication.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, like I said in my shout out, once he got on board, it became so much easier. And once he learned like that we can still go out and we can still have a great time and we're buddies, and now you just don't have to worry about how we're going to get home.
Yeah.
No kidding. I love that.
Yes. Well, if there is anyone struggling out there like with staying sober or struggling to even make the leap, do you have any big advice or any one tip that you feel like you would share with people?
I would definitely say like kind of pinpointing your why and being able to communicate that with somebody who's maybe someone who's pressuring you without realizing that this is actually really important to you. Maybe they're jokingly, but you're feeling some type of way about it. But being able to clearly communicate like, this is why I'm doing this, and this is why you can support me. Like, I think that's
kind of standing behind it.
Exactly. And just don't be scared to vocalize your needs.
Yeah, I do feel like I always say this is like, I don't know if this is how society is growing or if it's just our age group is growing, but I do think that it has become more okay to just tell people like, oh, actually, I don't do that, or actually, I do this, and a lot of people are more accepting of it. So yeah, I don't know if that's more of a societal thing or more of like an age group thing, but do you feel like that's accurate, or do you still feel like you get pressured a lot?
I don't get pressured as much. Usually when I tell somebody, oh, I'm not drinking right now, they're like, oh, okay, that's cool, and I move on. Like,
Yay!
I feel like I overanalyzed for the longest time, and I would like try to act like I was drinking even though I wasn't, which is silly, like, because people don't really care that much, as much as I thought they did.
But it was a huge change for you. So you're thinking, this is so big to me, it's going to be this big to everybody else, and
Yeah.
like
Really,
those things, it's not.
It's no different than saying I don't eat dairy, so I'm gonna eat a different option.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yes, that's actually really true.
Some people are more weird about not eating dairy than
Not drinking
They're
alcohol.
like, why?
How do you live without sugar?
Yeah.
And I do feel like our generation is a little bit more tolerant or accepting of certain things like that, so it's not as big of a deal. But the funny thing is that no matter what, like when you were saying, yeah, I usually just say that and people move on. Like I always go back to when I first realized that people are thinking about themselves way more than they're thinking about me. And just in general, like if you think about how much you're dwelling on, oh, did I wear the right outfit to this place? Or, oh, is my hair good? Or like, hey, like just like random things like that. Or, oh, or even thinking about like your partner, or thinking like, what are they thinking of my partner and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the other people are thinking about themselves and their circumstances just as much. So whenever you say like, oh yeah, I'm not drinking today, like it is in and out of their brain so fast. And they're probably already thinking about like whatever they're gonna drink next, or oh, did I order the wrong drink, or oh, what about like this for like they're just not even thinking about us. So, so it's just one of those things where like we overanalyze it way more than we need to. So I'm glad that you feel like now it's like not a big deal.
Yeah, and more often than not, if they do ask flippant questions, it's because they're genuinely just curious.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like it's the gift of going second. You're giving them that gift.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, those were kind of, I just wanted to get into the basics of why and how and stuff. But now let's get on to the really fun part. It's becoming summer, and I want to know how you're embracing your sobriety with the summer, because I think that's so hard.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm really curious to hear all about it. But,
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say before we transition, I do want to be honest that initially Bailey was like, "Oh, I want to do like a sober curious episode, and we're due for like a bit of fun episode."
so I was like, I want to keep it light.
Yeah, which I always forget that our interview episodes we actually don't categorize because. But I was like, I don't really know if this is a bit of fun episode because I feel like you and I have talked before, and you're like, a lot of the worst moments of my life have been when like I was drinking, and that's just like one of the things that made me realize like I don't need this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, like it might get really deep and really crazy. And then which would be totally fine.
We could go there.
We love Let's Get Deep episodes. But and then I was like, or I could see it being like a how-to episode where it's like, oh, here are your tips for how to do it, whatever. But then Bailey was like, no, I definitely think it could be like a light bit of fun episode. And I was like, okay, you show me how. And so and which I, after like reading through our outline of seeing like we're gonna be talking about fun ways to like ways that you can still have fun while being sober, ways that you can still have fun while incorporating drinking, and like honestly helping you like you're going through something sober. So
Brady, like, man,
giving you some tips for things that you can do and ways that you can have fun still. And so I'm really excited about it because I didn't know what to expect. And then now I'm like, ooh, fun energy. Like, it doesn't have to be, like, when we're talking about drinking and sobriety and stuff, it doesn't have to be, like, intense.
Yes, that's what I wanted this episode to be about, is I didn't want it to feel like such a weight and such like a, oh, I'm sober. Like, it's so monotone and so, like, oh, I'm thinking about being sober. Like, I wanted it to be something that's to be celebrated and something that's, like, wherever you are in your life, if this is something you're thinking about, here you go. Like,
if there's some sober promises.
Yeah, sober girl summer. Yes. Although sober curious is not about committing to being sober. It's just about looking at exploring your relationship with alcohol and what it means to you and what it does for you and all that. So
Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the fun part. So you and Nate, you guys have so many date nights. You guys are always out doing something crazy. And like, you guys even just had a staycation. And those are normally going to be centered around alcohol for a lot of couples, like my couple included.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, what are some fun date night activities or things that you guys do together that don't involve alcohol or that don't make you have to have a drink? Because he still drinks and all the time. And so I'd love to hear.
Nate is a big craft brew guy. Like, he loves trying different beers, and he actually, like, just genuinely enjoys tasting them and smelling them. And he'll even, like, pass me the drink and be like, what are you getting on this?
What hints?
Will you have coffee in it? Like, what's going on? So, like, and it doesn't bother me when he has a drink. Like, it really doesn't, especially because I have never even liked beer in the first place.
So please, that's all you.
Kind of works perfectly that that's his, like, alcohol of choice. It never was mine. So
If it was champagne, it'd be different.
I'd be like, we can't divorce and
We're going to have to force bride.
But no, so, like, I'm totally fine with going to a bar or a brewery and hanging out. But my thing, like, one of the boundaries I've set is, like, I'm not going to go to a bar and just sit there and just drink and, watch you. Like, if we're going to a bar, it has to have some kind of live music or activity. Like, there has to be a trivia going on or a bingo or karaoke.
Yeah.
Which my first time doing karaoke without alcohol was, like, really hard.
Oh my God.
Really?
I have to do that. We're like coming up soon. I'm like,
Because most people are like, oh, we're about to, it's almost my turn, let's go take a shot. But so, and that's somewhere I feel like I've really grown personally, is like I can be more comfortable in myself without needing alcohol because I've pushed past that. So, like, I love when a place is doing karaoke or any time that we can be outside. Like, if we can be on a patio and there's live music, then, like, I'm the happiest camper out there, And I've got my Shirley Temple or, my club soda or whatever, and I'm feeling great. So, like, our date nights for me have to have some kind of fun activity. I love a good mini golf, or we've done axe throwing, which is super fun.
So cool.
Yeah.
It's just so funny that that's something that a lot of people do while drinking. I'm like, oh my God, it's dangerous. I've never thought about that. That's crazy. I think I just have a lot of anxiety. And so I'm like, wait, what? People are like really drunk when they throw axes?
Yeah.
It's actually really safe. Like, the people who run those places are making sure everyone's safe.
That's good.
That's for sure.
Yeah, as long as there's something that we can do, then I'm
like,
totally
the activity is not drinking.
Exactly.
Which is really good because that is typically the activity. Like, we're going to go out to a happy hour, we're sitting at a table and drinking.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I also feel like a lot of the places that I go anymore, or I mean, I assume that you go, have non-alcoholic options. Like, you can get the Club Sailor, you can get the Shirley Temple, but they might have a non-alcoholic quirk, or they might have a non-alcoholic White Claw or something.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
I feel like they're making more NA drinks.
Yes, it's definitely catching on.
Yeah, like, Julia, you just brought NA White Claws to the Royals game we went to, and I loved them.
That was the best tailgating experience I've ever had.
I loved it. And you remembered every second.
Exactly.
I did. I'm feeling great. I know you had some date night ideas, like, listed out. What are some of your favorite ones?
So, my absolute favorite, especially when it's nice outside, we love to go downtown or anywhere where you see those bird scooters.
Yeah. See, this is what I meant earlier when I said you guys do crazy things.
Yes, we love to, like, scan the little code, hop on a scooter, and then, like, just go. We literally don't even have a destination in mind. Like, we just go until we see somewhere that, like, if we hear music coming from a place, or we see, like, lights somewhere, like, a lot of places have twinkly lights, what's happening over there? Let's go check it out. And we're getting to the point where we've kind of explored most of Kansas City, so we kind of know, like, where to go and not to go, but we ideally would be in a new district, like, finding a new place.
Yeah.
So I started calling these our sip and scoot nights. Because we'll
love
go
that.
to one place and, like, Nate will get a drink and I'll get a club soda or an alcoholic quirk, and we'll, like, look around. How's the decor? What's the ambiance like? Are there people next to us that we can talk to? Or, like, sometimes places have a little board game on the table you can play.
So the activity there is
Just experiencing it. Yeah. Discovering is the activity. I love that. And so then once he has his drink and we're good, okay, and then we hop on our scooters and go to the next place. And it's just a fun sip and scoot. And I'm like, the longer we can be on the scooters in between places, like, the happier I am. I'm like, let's go from Power and Light down to Crossroads. Like, that's a good little distance.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Quite.
So I love our sip and scoop nights. I also love anytime we can catch like a free show. Like a lot of places have free outdoor movie nights in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Colonial, just so you know, Colonial Gardens, I don't know if you've seen that one, but Shaylin and I just went. They have free almost every Wednesday, free live music.
That's awesome.
And you can order food and drinks if you want, but you don't have to. It's literally just a free show.
and then you're just surrounded by beautiful plants. and-
It's gorgeous. We were in there and we were like, whoa.
That's cool. That's so my vibe.
I love it. I love it.
And then I also love like arcade bars.
Oh,
where
yes, you do.
Yes, I love. Or
Those are fun.
there's a place in North Kansas City called Rewind Video and Dive.
Yes.
And it's like a basement, and it has like squashy couches and coffee
I want to go
tables
there
and TVs
so
everywhere.
bad since you guys talked about it.
Girl.
I have to go.
And like especially if you're like in your 30s like me, and you grew up playing like Super Nintendo and
Yeah.
GameCube, and they have all of those old video game systems hooked up to the
my
TVs
God.
already.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is like pick out a game, and then they do make you turn in your ID at the bar, so no one can just like walk off with like a game or controller.
Great collateral.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And then you can get your controllers in your game, and you can go play.
Yes. That's how it is with like a pool hall or pickleball. You always have to turn in your ID.
Exactly. Yeah. And I do also love going to the pool and hanging out. Like I will bring my own White Claws or non-alcoholic quirks. And Nate and I have a great time playing in the pool together. Like,
Yeah.
we're like little kids. We're like doing handstands and breathing contests underwater and stuff like that. I love that. Yeah. Another summer, we got season passes to Worlds of Fun, and we were literally there like every.
You were there every
were.
weekend.
It was so
Yes.
fun, especially because we like splurged for the fast pass too.
Nice.
So
Yes.
we could just get on and off any ride we wanted.
I remember anytime I would see Nate that summer. Was it just last summer or the summer?
It was like
before?
3 years ago now.
Okay, well, anytime I would see Nate that summer, I would be like, "What are you guys gonna do this weekend?" And he's like, "Well, I'm really trying to go to Worlds of Fun.
Yeah.
We have passes." And I was like, he was like, "I'm really trying to be there as much as I can."
Yeah.
Well, we even had the dining pass too, so we could
Yes.
go get 2 free meals every time as long as there was a 4-hour period
Oh
in
my
between.
God.
So
Crazy.
That's
Yeah.
really nice. Do you ever make the joke of like, oh, we can spend more money on something like Fast Pass because I'm not drinking, so we're saving money though. I've been using that one. I'm like, it's a joke, but I'm serious. So I'm like, our dinner's $20 cheaper because I'm not drinking.
Yeah, you save a lot of money when you
So instead I'm like, we could get an app. Mason, get another drink.
Get a dessert.
Yeah, get a dessert. I'm like, we're saving money because I'm not drinking, so we might as well use this somewhere else.
And when we're there, Nate will get like a beer or two, you know, but it's like that's not the reason we're there.
Yeah.
We're there for the
Yeah.
experience and for the rides and for the fun, you know.
Yeah.
So those are some of my favorite summer date nights.
I really
love
like
that.
those. Yeah, I really like all those date nights. That's super fun.
Or date days, you know. You want to make just the whole day out of it.
I feel like you've also found some local things, like discovered some local KC things that have come up since you've been, I guess, so curious, jury or whatever, and have kind of just come up because they're like those different activities like you were talking about. I know you have a few of those. Do you want to share some of those fun things that you guys have discovered? Because some of them have become regular.
Yeah, so on one of our sip and scoots, it just happened to be during First Fridays down in the Crossroads.
Oh.
And that's when we discovered that that's a thing.
Yeah.
And that they do it
I've never
every
been.
summer month.
Oh, really?
It's fun.
I think they start in May. So
I think the first one has happened already.
yeah, so
Yeah.
there will be one this Friday with date night. We don't have our date night planned for Friday, so maybe we can do that. But yeah, First Fridays is basically just there's lots of vendors on the streets and live music. People are out having fun. It's just a good atmosphere, good vibe.
There's usually like local makers and stuff too.
Fun. It's like a festival.
Yeah,
I mean, but like small.
it's very small.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might like see like a fire dancer or something
Oh.
crazy like that. Yeah. And it's good for people watching too.
Which is
Very
activity.
good.
Very good.
Yes, totally an activity. So that's a fun summer like thing that we discovered. And then one day I was on Facebook and I was trying to find an event because we didn't have any plans for our date night that Friday.
Uh-huh.
So, man, what are we gonna do tonight? Like, done this, we've done that. I don't really feel like doing this again. So I got on Facebook to look at local events that were happening, and I saw September Shanty Night. This was last year. And I was like, what is this? So I clicked on it, and it was like this is a free event. Bring your friends, bring your family, come sit and sing sea shanties with us.
Oh, yeah.
And have a great time. And there was like, I don't know, 75 people maybe interested in going. And I was like, okay, this might be a legit thing. And it was at the Delaware in Independence, which is like 8 minutes from our house.
So nice.
And it was literally happening in like 10 minutes. I was like, babe, let's go to this. So he was like totally down to just go check it out.
You guys are so spontaneous.
You are.
He
I
did
love
ask,
that about you guys.
do they have beer there?
No.
And I was like, they do. Because they have vendors from different breweries come.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I think it was Rochester Brewery that was there for that experience. Yeah. So yeah, we walk in and there's just a ton of people sitting at these big long tables, and they were already like singing their shanties, and it's basically just a bunch of guys who like singing sea shanties. Which if no one's ever heard a sea shanty, it's like, what would you do with a drunken singer?
I definitely had not heard of that.
kind of
Whenever you
thing.
were describing things, I was like, what is a shanty?
Well, and I love to sing. Like I was a choir kid, and like you guys know, we would grow up and harmonize with each other on music.
Yeah.
And so they have guys who teach you the different parts. Like they'll say, okay, this is what the alto part's going to sound like, and this is what the bass part is going to sound like. And if you want to just sing the melody, this is what you can do. And then they put it all together, and then everyone in the ring is just singing together during choir, and that's so fun.
That is.
So Nate will order a beer, and I'll order a coffee or a tea, or I'll just sip some water, and then I'll have the best time. So that's another thing I found just
so
that is so fun.
I have really wanted to join you guys for one of these shanty nights.
Oh, you
'Cause
totally should.
I just love things that are everyone having fun together. Like, but I also like whenever you don't have to, talk with everybody else. Because I'm like, well, I don't want to like be stuck with somebody that I don't want to be stuck with every night. Kind of thing. But I love when I can just tell everyone's having such a good time together.
Yeah.
And I just need to join you guys for one of these things.
Well, it's nice because they do it every month.
Oh, next one, will you invite us?
Yes, absolutely. It's just nice to have one date night planned a month that we don't have to think about. We
Yeah.
just know that's where we're going to be.
Yeah, and it's become one of your guys' favorites. You guys go to like
Yes.
every single one, right?
Yes.
Oh, it's so fun.
Super fun.
And you just randomly found it on Facebook. That's like my favorite part.
That's fun. So you got to be careful with that though, because last week I was looking for a Facebook event, and I saw Jamaican Jam Friday, Lee Summit, and I was like, babe, let's go do this. And so we went, and I didn't look at the date correctly. It's like not until July. So we got to downtown Lee Summit, and he was like, so where is this music happening? And I said, it's supposed to just be like right here. And he was like, there's no music. So we ended up just doing a little bar crawl that night. And it
There you
was,
go.
and I just was along for the ride. He was like, since you messed up, you're doing what I want to do tonight.
Oh my god.
We had a great time. We ended up at Llewellyn's where they had live music.
I know.
So I was happy.
Fun.
I love it. That sounds so fun.
And I know that one of the things that you mentioned too that you wanted to talk about was the nature walks.
We love going on nature walks. So anytime we can't, for whatever reason, do a Friday night date night, because that's kind of our set that we've like planned. Anytime we can't do that, we'll do a Saturday afternoon date. And I kind of love those because they're generally a little slower and a little more adventurous because we've got to go find things in the daylight to do. And so George Owens Nature Park or Borough Woods Nature Park, or we were recently at Legacy Park in Lee Summit, anywhere with a nice little walking path. We like to go just be outside together, and I think that that's sometimes my favorite.
Yeah. It's a snow day.
We play Bailey's word game, or like 3, 2, 1 word game.
Yeah, quick pause to tell our listeners what that game is. If you don't know, it's where you go 3, 2, 1, and you say a word, and then both of you say a word at the same time, and then you, if it's not the same word, which it probably won't be on the first try.
Yeah, the goal is to get to the same word.
Yes, then you say 3, 2, 1 again, and you try to find a word that's similar in between it. So
Yes.
it's a fun game.
It is a fun game. I remember telling Julie about them because I don't know what we were talking about, but it was something about like, at some point you just spend so much time in the program. Like, what do you guys even talk about? Like, what are we supposed to talk about on this a date night that's happening again? And I was like, that's not something that you had said, but it's something that we have been talking about. And I was like, oh my gosh, Mason and I just play games. Like, when we run out of things to talk about, we'll just play a game. And that was one of the games I told you about, and I love that you guys play that because we play it all the time. Sometimes I'll make it play with me in between like commercial breaks for like football or baseball games. I'm like, okay, my turn.
That is so fun. No, I love that.
Yeah, I could just be like, okay, think of a word.
Yeah.
And then, it's just like, okay, that's what we're doing. And also, I'm not going to lie, I have taboo on my phone, and anytime there's like a lull, and I'm like, okay, let's
You guys are great about breaking that out if there's like a little, even with like a group or something.
Yes. I love breaking out like heads up.
Yes.
Or like a catchphrase kind of thing. I love breaking those ones out.
And sometimes if there are people around us, they'll
Yeah.
like join in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which totally throws us off. And then I'm like, kind
Anyway, that clue wasn't for you. Only he would know it.
I love that. Well, you have so many activities that you shared, and I feel like the activities are a really good way of like emphasizing that hanging out, date night, summertime activities, like does not have to be about drinking at all.
Yeah.
But I do also know that you are able to find like mocktail recipes and things like that, where like if you really are like, I really do want something fun to sip on, or I really want something like that, that you have found some things like that. So what are some of your favorite mocktail like go-to recipes?
So a lot of places will have a little corner on their drink menu now just for mocktails.
I love that.
So like
yes.
Chicken and Pickle, I know, has a little mocktail menu, and so a lot of times I'll just look at whatever they have and see what
They
sounds
do.
good. And yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, but the thing with that is like they do kind of charge almost the same as just
Yeah,
a
they
regular
do.
mocktail
Yeah.
or something like that. And usually they use a lot of different like syrups and things, and sometimes it's a little sugary or just doesn't sit that well on my tummy. There was one night where like at every place we scooted to, I had the bartender make me a surprise mocktail, and like by the end of the night I was not feeling good because I had so many different variations.
So much sugar.
Yeah.
They do a lot of like juices and like pineapple juice and like and
A lot
it's
of
just
syrup.
Right.
Yeah, to make it exciting and
Yeah.
to make it pretty and to make it taste good. So I've learned that if I'm going to do that, I just have one. And then after the initial syrupy, sugary, pretty mocktail, then I can just switch to club soda with a lemon and a lime. And it still looks like a cocktail.
Yeah.
I still get, a little garnish and a straw.
Yeah.
And I'm totally fine with
I
that.
do water with lemon all the time.
For sure.
And I'm like, I feel fancy. I feel like I'm having a drink.
Yeah. Or I always have a fizz in my
Yes,
purse.
you do.
And on Friday nights, I don't care if I have a little bit of caffeine because
It's Friday.
it's Friday. Yeah. And if I'm going to be on some kind of level, then that's so I'll allow myself a
Little caffeine buzz.
fizzy caffeine buzz. Yeah.
What's your favorite flavor?
Oh my gosh, how can I even choose? But I think mango peach.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's my favorite to just have by itself. It just packs a little bit of a punch.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'll link it in the thing. I actually think that I really like the pomegranate or the sweet citrus.
Pomegranate's a big crowd pleaser. And I thought about bringing some to put in our Shirley Temples.
I have some
Because
if
it's
we
ready.
if we want to refill the pomegranate.
During dinner.
You know,
Our
no,
dinner
it's
time.
after 5. It's a Sunday.
true.
so- But I also love any place that does have the non-alcoholic Cokes or White Claws. A lot
Yeah.
of times I'll get one of those.
They're just fun to have as an option.
If I'm at home and I'm going to make myself a little mocktail,
yeah.
I really love the Frey. Is that how you say it?
I don't know the FRE.
Yeah, alcohol removed
I have some
champagne.
actually.
It's so good because you can put a little orange juice in there and
Uh-huh.
you feel like you're drinking a mimosa.
And it bubbles the same.
It does.
Yeah.
It tastes. It's very close to champagne.
It is very close. I can trick myself into thinking I'm having a mimosa.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which was always my drink of choice. Really, just champagne in general is what I would go to. So anytime I can do that, and that's a really fun one to break out if you like are in a group setting and you have some friends together.
Yeah.
And they can have regular champagne. You can have alcohol removed champagne. Everyone's sharing the orange juice or pineapple juice. You know, have a little bar.
That's really nice.
If I'm at home, that's my favorite one. But most places, I don't think are just gonna have alcohol removed champagne.
Yeah, probably not. I wonder if they would though. If it's not something that like high-end bars would start carrying or something.
If you start asking, do you have any alcohol removed champagne?
Yeah, you're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna need to. We're gonna be stocked up for you, right? That's funny. Well, on that note, I'm curious. So, I feel like sometimes people talk about mocktails being like pretend drinking because I mean it kind of is, but like, I'm curious for your non-alcoholic champagne and orange juice. Like that was your drink of choice. So, what do you do when you find yourself like having the itch for a drink, or like do you have any distractions that you kind of put into place or anything like that?
That's a really good question, and I don't find myself triggered as often now as I
that's good.
used to in the past. So there is hope if you're going through that right now and being triggered frequently.
Uh-huh.
It does become. I feel like the more that you enter into a new situation that you normally would have had alcohol in the past. Every time you do that, it becomes more normal.
It's like exposure therapy.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like, we were in LA and Morgan ordered a glass of champagne, and I was at the table and they brought it to her, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Like, that's so good.
Yes, and it was like, had hit me just that I really wanted some, and like, that doesn't happen to me very often. But I didn't necessarily feel like I needed to distract myself. I felt like I needed to just acknowledge it and just say it out loud.
There you go.
And then just move on. Like, I think I was like, wow, that's really triggering me right now. And you felt bad, and I felt bad for making you feel bad.
Well, you were like, oh my God, I'm actually so jealous. And I was like, oh my God, really? Like, I didn't even think about that.
And like, I didn't want you to feel bad. I just needed to say it out loud. Like,
Yeah.
Because if I didn't say it out loud, then it would have just been rattling around in my
Yes,
mind.
and all you would have been thinking about is, I want that. That looks good. Wow, I really wish I could taste that. But once you said it out loud, you're like, okay.
Yeah, and then I felt okay to just move on. Yeah.
I think at that dinner too, because I was early on being pregnant, and Chloe is 17, so she doesn't drink, and Jordan doesn't drink. So we had gotten all of our regular drinks and asked for nice glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, can you go get like a fancy cocktail glass?
And they were so accommodating too. That's
I know.
another thing that, like, even if a place doesn't have necessarily a fun non-alcoholic option, like Chicken and Pickle has like all the fun cocktails, like most places now are very accommodating. You feel like, and can I get that in a wine glass? Or
Yeah.
can I get that in like a fun glass or whatever? I know when I went to a work happy hour at Boulevard, which they have multiple non-alcoholic quirks at Boulevard.
Wait,
Yeah.
really?
Yes,
Just
more
the
than
superfruit.
No. They had multiple NA ones, and
I did not know that. I just get water.
What? At Boulevard?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, I was there with Courtney and Shaylin, who are also pregnant, and they also had multiple non-alcoholic beers, and so they poured. I got Courtney and Shaylin both. I don't know why, but I always feel like I need to buy people drinks. But I got them both like I got Courtney a non-alcoholic quirk and Shaylin a non-alcoholic beer because she's more of a beer drinker. And they put Courtney's quirk in a wine glass and Shaylin's non-alcoholic beer in like a stout. Yeah, and or a Stelling or whatever that's called. And so it was really, really fun. And like I feel like a lot of places are very accommodating with that.
Absolutely. And there is something about just having the fun glass and being able to participate and cheers. And you don't feel like there's anything weird. It's like, again, we're just normalizing it. Because there's nothing weird about it, really.
Exactly.
And then if I am feeling like I'm really depriving myself right now, then I'll just let myself have something else. Like, I typically don't eat gluten or dairy, but like, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'll have a cupcake.
Nice. Yes.
Just because if I feel like I've been too restrictive, then it does sort of put me into that more negative mindset.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, you know, I'll allow myself this little indulgence here, and then I'm not so upset about not indulging here. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And like like what you're saying about it tumbling around in your mind, like you're not as focused on that. Like you're no longer focused on the fact that you're not having alcohol. Instead, you're focused on the fact that like, ooh, this is a yummy little sweet treat. Because I think that that's where, when it comes to like food or drinks either way, when you like get to the binge point, it's because in your head you're just like so consumed with like what you're not having, and it's like, let's focus on what you are having and what you can have and what you are able to enjoy, instead of like, I can't enjoy this, I can't enjoy this, I can't enjoy this, and then you like turn and now it's like, I'm gonna enjoy all of this. You know?
Yeah, which is a slippery slope.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that is very smart. I like that you're like, it's not necessarily that I distract myself, I just like refocus. But one of the last things that we were going to ask you about is like, are there outside resources that have been helpful to you as you've like gone through the journey of exploring your sobriety and whatnot, and like other things that you would recommend?
Well, I definitely think having some kind of accountability, whether it's a friend or a partner. For me, I actually do go to a recovery group every Monday night. And
Really? I did not know that you did that every Monday night.
every Monday night, unless there's some kind of crazy thing. But
It's free indeed.
Free Indeed, which is a faith-based recovery group. And I've never thought of myself as like a really bad alcoholic or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was never a severe problem.
Yeah.
But the fact that I have a group of people who I can talk about it with openly and say, I was at this event and I had this thought, and they can like help me work through that and process it. And then just knowing that like, if I do decide to drink, I'm going to go in and tell them about it. And do I want to experience those feelings that come along with it? And so it's just like has held me accountable and makes me feel like I have the support that I need. So definitely getting some kind of accountability, whether it's a group
I really
or
like
person.
that, because it doesn't have to be an AA meeting or like a rehab kind of thing. You found an accountability group with recovery. And I think that's really cool because it sounds so scary. But you're showing that like you don't have to have gone through something that ruined your life in order to get to a point where you're like, I don't really think alcohol's for me anymore.
Yeah, really, I went to this group when I was still not even committed to being sober. I was just checking it out and just curious, and that was part of what kind of made me feel like I could, because I heard all of these testimonies from people who have been doing it for 18 years and have been living their best life, and you have thriving social lives and lots of friends.
Can I ask how you found that group?
Just I think a pamphlet, like in the hallway at church.
Nice.
Yeah, and it mulled over in my head for a while I was still, on the fence about even exploring that. But that was a big one for me as far as resources go. And then I do have a tracker on my phone. I have an app called Sober Time.
Oh, I love a tracker.
Yep. So whenever I had to reset for a certain incident, I had to go into my tracker and reset it, which I was like, it kind of sucks, but I haven't lost my growth or my progress. It's really just a date, but it does help to like have that visual and to look at it and be like, oh my gosh, I've gotten up to 2 years. That's crazy.
That's so good. Do you know if this app lets you share that with a friend?
Oh yeah.
Really? I have a friend of mine who has who's kind of been going back and forth between like sobriety, and I've been like, I'm sure there's a tracker out there somewhere where you could share it with me and we could like be in it together kind of thing, or I can help you stay accountable, or it doesn't have to be something where you text me and say like, I'm really thinking about it, or like I drank today. And I was like, I wonder if some type of app would help. So what's that app called?
Sober Time. Yeah, it's pretty simple.
And it truly is just like tracks the days you've been sober.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little stopwatch kind of thing.
Yes, I love those.
It'll tell you in seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, years.
I need that.
Which is always kind of fun.
Well, I think that kind of wraps up all the like questions that we had. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, or?
Well, I just want to thank both of you guys for being so supportive and just always making sure that there's, like Morgan, you've always brought alcohol removed wine or champagne or something like that for us when you know that we're going to be attending that picnic. And just thank you for including me and not letting me ever feel left out.
Well, thank you for giving us the opportunity of going second. I know that you've inspired me in a lot of ways, and that I'm always looking at you like if I ever do decide that it's something I want to do or need to do for myself, I can do it because my big sister did it. And I do feel really inspired by you all the time.
Me too, for sure. I love that you said the thing about having the options too, though, because for Mother's Day, I brought margaritas, and then I bought the like non-alcoholic tequila so that I could make non-alcoholic margaritas too. And Lindsay from our book club responded and was like, gosh, I just love that your family always has NA options. And I responded and I was like, it hasn't always been that way. And I think that it's really amazing that I feel like even before pregnancy or like anything like that was like really a strong part of, I don't know, our family activities or whatever. That like we kind of started adapting way before that. And I was like thinking about it and I was like, honestly, like it wasn't the go-to, or it wasn't a thought before.
It wasn't a normal thing that you were gonna go to our house and there was gonna be non-alcoholic options.
And so I was kind of like, it hasn't always been that way, but it's kind of it's awesome to me too to know that like if I didn't want to drink, it's pretty normal that we would have those options. I do feel like you've kind of paved the path for that in our family.
And it that way.
And so I think that's even though like Jordan doesn't drink that much, or like Chloe's 17, or like whatever, we just have that hasn't always been a thing, but it's just like being inclusive to anybody and everybody, whatever decision they want to make for their own bodies. And like, we're very supportive of that. So.
Yeah. That reminds me of whenever I was hosting book club and I had just found out I was pregnant, and so I made mocktails. And I think I actually made Shirley Temples. But I know that you, Morgan, had said you hadn't even done this for your own thing that you had hosted, or you had said like your friends had done this, but making a mocktail version of whatever a big drink is and then having the liquor on the side that people can add in. I was like, that is genius, because I always make a cocktail batch and then say, oh, sorry, it's a cocktail, you can have water. And because I've always been the person participating in drinking, and so I've never thought about having other options, but then I got pregnant and I was like, oh yeah, I can't drink anymore. And so I will always do that now, from now on. I'm making a mocktail batch and then having liquor on the side so people can add that in as they want.
It's honestly like just as easy, if not easier. Like it's just it's so simple. I don't know why it took so long to realize that, but
I don't know.
I'm so happy that you've shown us how it like doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to be a big, I don't know, a whole big thing.
It doesn't even have to stay in.
Yeah,
like
that's
my
favorite part.
Make you boring or anything like that.
You guys are the least boring people that I know.
I feel like I have done more fun things and gotten more out of my comfort zone since starting this.
Yeah.
Because I'm spending less time hungover.
No kidding.
It's kind of like the novelty effect that you guys talked about in one episode, where your experience of time when you're doing new things is different. Like, my experience of time when I was blacked out. I mean, I lost out. And so, like, I've really given myself the gift of being able to remember and enjoy more experiences this way.
No, I have really related to that with this summer being sober. That, like, I still go to the things. I'm the DD, which I know what I'm doing. Because I'm like, I've never been a DD before. This is so fun for me. But then it's always so funny because the next day Mason's hungover and I'm like, I feel great. This is so great for me.
I'm going to go for a walk.
I'm like, wow, I never even thought about that. And I feel great.
Nice.
I love it. It's fun. It's a fun, like, change of pace. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
We are so grateful, and it was long overdue.
Yes, long overdue.
We have started incorporating guests or interviews once a month-ish, like once every 4 or 5 episodes.
We're not on a schedule.
No, but we thought it would be fun this year to start incorporating that. So you were one of like the first people that came to mind, but we were like, what do we ask about, you know?
And there's so many different topics that we knew you could have gone through.
Yes, you could have talked to us about so many things, but I'm so glad that you came on for this one, and especially to kick off summer.
Yes. That's what I wanted to do.
Yes, cheers to that. Yes, so all that said, yes, if you listen to this episode and you really resonated with it, or you want some accountability, or you know someone that you guys have kind of been like talking about, like your relationship with alcohol or whatever, you want some accountability, please send it to friends and loved ones who you think would benefit from it. We would love that so much. Make sure that you subscribe, leave a rating and review, all the fun things.
Yes, and make sure to give this episode some love and just tell Julia how much you enjoyed hearing her and hearing her thoughts.
Absolutely, yes. So, all that being said, we will see you guys next time, or talk to you next time.
Yep, see you next week.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.